Welcome to the Growth Minded Accountant podcast, where our experts will share best practices on running your firm in the digital age. This podcast is brought to you by CountingWorks Pro. Let's get started.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Growth Minded Accountant. I'm your host, Lee Reams, the founder and CEO of CountingWorks. And today we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked, but incredibly powerful. I recently wrote a blog article called Why Your Client Newsletter Isn't Just a Marketing Tactic, It's the Growth Engine for Your Firm. So today we're going to be discussing how powerful client newsletters can be for tax and accounting professionals. As usual, today I am joined by our Chief Visibility Officer, Rebekah Barton. If you could say hello.
Hey, everybody. Excited to be back.
Yeah, and Rebekah, just some background. She's a seasoned content strategist, copywriter, narrative, SEO geek. We'll call her a Disney geek, not an SEO geek.
Call me a geek.
Well, we'll use the SEO side for something else. But she's here at CountingWorks Pro supporting our VIP clients, helping our clients create custom narratives that help them stand out from the crowd. So she brings a wealth of expertise, crafting compelling content that not only informs which newsletters should do, but also drive client engagement and growth. So together, hopefully, we'll explore what a well-executed client newsletter can look like and how this can transform your tax and accounting practice into a thriving client-centric business. So I'm going to start here. And I wrote this in my blog, and I'll just even read the first sentence of my blog. It said, let's start with a truth bomb. If your newsletter feels like a checkbox you have to complete every month, you're doing it wrong. And let's kind of explain what I meant by that. You might not read my mind here, but the idea is that if you are just doing this just because you're just sending whatever content, perhaps you're sharing news articles that other people have written, you're resharing generic IRS tidbits. My feeling is you're thinking about it completely wrong, right? You should sit back and look at this as your biggest recurring revenue creator that's possible. And you should put a lot of time and kind of research into what really works and how it can create a positive ROI for you. So a well-run, client-focused newsletter will generate incredible returns for you. So Rebekah, from your perspective, why should tax and accounting firms prioritize their newsletter first before they even go to anything else?
Hugely important way to keep your clients engaged. Client engagement is really, really big in this industry because, for one thing, a lot of people aren't thinking about tax and accounting when it's not tax season. So obviously tax season just ended officially yesterday. So this is the time of year where people might start to disengage a little bit from you. Newsletters are a great way to keep them informed, keep them engaged, keep your firm top of mind all year long, and provide them with value. So you can provide them with valuable information and show them that, hey, we're not just here for you, from January to April or whatever. We're here the rest of the year as well, and we're here to help you achieve positive financial outcomes, even when it's not tax filing season.
Yeah, so our number one issue or topic or takeaway here is your newsletter keeps you top of mind, right? And without being annoying. What's great for tax and accounting firms, the average open rate on a newsletter is well over 30%. Our clients get that all the time. So what it does is it helps you build trust. And trust isn't built off of one phone call. It's not built off of one referral, one engagement, right? It's built over time with consistency and through repeatedly providing value. So what does a good newsletter do, right? It's going to give your clients things they actually care about. So right now with, who knows when Trump tax code changes are going to make, or if they are going to be made, it's so contentious right now. I have some friends in DC that are like, it's not happening till the end of the summer recess. There's too many holdouts. But the reality is your clients are going to care about this right now. They care about the tariffs, right? How does that affect their cash flow? How does that affect their budgeting? How does that affect their businesses' survival rates, right? So these are things you should be talking about in your newsletter. They care about legally paying less in taxes. So what are these different tax planning strategies that will help them minimize their tax liability? I mean, if you're able to consistently show clients ways to save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes, they're not going anywhere. They're going to pay you a premium rate, and then we're going to refer a lot more people to you, right? So Your newsletter should include tips for growing and protecting their business, right? So, what is profit first? There's a lot of different ways to do this. Your newsletter should cover life events. What are things that are happening throughout the year that if they don't proactively reach out to you and they make some decisions just on their own, what are the repercussions of that, right? So done right, your newsletter, becomes that little ping on the radar that reminds them, hey, oh yeah, I have this partner, that I work with that's going to keep me in the loop, right? So really important thing to do. So the next thing is, we're going to talk about this. So should a newsletter, how does it inspire action, right? And then how does this now become an ROI point of view? So Rebekah, from, our clients' points of view, the whole idea of sending something out is you want something in return, right? You want an ROI on the effort of putting a client newsletter together. What would be the ways to inspire action in a newsletter?
So there are a few different things you can do, and it kind of depends on your goals, on what you want to accomplish. Hitting reply is a very common one. Reply to this message with a specific word or a specific term. You could either respond directly to every client if you want to take the time to do that, or use AI to help you. Or you can have them reply with a specific word that will then kick off some type of a workflow where they receive a free download or they receive some sort of an ebook, something like that, if they respond with a specific word. So there are a few different things you can do on that front. You can also, have some type of a referral program within your newsletter. Hey, refer a friend by forwarding this newsletter to them and show them the value here. So there are multiple calls to action, but the really important thing is to have a call to action or two somewhere throughout your newsletter so that people are inspired. I think in the blog we said the goal isn't to send something, but to spark something. So you really want to spark action, inspire them to do something, not just read.
So I'm going to stay on the ROI theme, and something I think people completely forget is there is a Google effect here. And the Google effect is what, Rebekah? I mean, people now are following your links from your email newsletter and they're landing on your blog per se. They're now spending time on your website. How are these indicators to Google that your brand is relevant, that perhaps you're a thought leader about the specific subject that they are reading about? And how does that now create higher rankings for you?
So obviously having traffic on your website is always a good thing when it comes to Google. The more time people spend on your website, that's another ranking factor. So the more you're driving traffic back to your blog post, back to your contact form, back to any page of your site through your newsletter, that is sending signals to Google that people are interested in what you're doing. And that is never a bad thing. Google has 14,000 approximately ranking factors. Time spent on the website, that is a big one. It's always going to be a big one. If people are spending time reading the content you're putting out, that is going to help your authority massively over time, particularly if that trend keeps up. So if you're sending your newsletter every month for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and people are reading it regularly and spending time on those articles regularly or on your website, that means that that's telling Google consistently that people are having interest in what you're posting and that you're posting valuable content.
Which is awesome, but there's a new fork in the road right now with AI. So how can your blog content become that reference material at ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or whatever? How is that a new source of traffic, and how important it is for tax and accounting pros to actually be included in these results and reference? And you notice this now on Google, anytime you do a specific type of, a question, most of the time they're giving Gemini's response, and then they'll list the answer through the internet, and they'll have references and links to where they came up with this. So explain to our audience kind of how that works and why that is so important now. And then people with old sites that have not been updated in a long time, they're missing out on this because of the schema and the ways things should be put together.
Yeah, so AI is a huge opportunity. If you've heard us talk at all, you've heard us talk about search everywhere optimization, not search engine optimization. And that's kind of where this comes into play. We believe here at Counting Works, I believe, I know you believe, Lee, that AI is the future and it's something that we all need to be paying close attention to. So, what AI is doing is looking for high authority blog posts or articles on specific topics. It is not as hard sometimes to get utilized in AI as it is to rank organically over, places like Forbes and things like that. So there's a real opportunity for small firms that are niching down, that are posting content related to their niches, and they're posting consistently and they're posting high quality articles. So there's a major opportunity for you to start writing newsletter articles, blog articles that pertain to whatever your niche may be, whether it's a particular industry, say you're working with doctors, or, a specific area of the country even. Some people might be searching for, small business tax laws in Texas versus California or something like that. So regional, local articles also have a place here. But there's a lot you can do, and the more you post, the more often you're putting out those high quality articles, the more likely it is that you're going to get picked up by one of the big AI systems.
Yeah, and the more localized you are, the more focused you are in a niche, the less competition, right? So the chances of you being referenced or you showing up in search are much, much higher. And you also got to think about, your own clients when they're searching or Googling for your firm. You want them to see articles you've written. You want to be referenced in other, perhaps other people are referencing you as an expert in the field and linking to you. This shows on the search results, which also is going to help your overall thought leadership, your traffic, your conversion. The more trust signals that people can find when they Google search you and or use an AI tool in search, the better for you. So let's move on to the third thing that I talk about in my blog article about newsletters, and that's segmentation. I said segmentation equals relevance, which equals revenue. So explain a little bit, and we're one of the few tools in the tax and accounting space that actually allows you to manage 4 or 5 different newsletters through our platform, right? So you can say, okay, all my small business owners, 1 to 10 size or under 2.5 million, they get this newsletter. Perhaps my higher medium-sized businesses, they get a different newsletter, or I deal with restaurant owners and I have a newsletter specific to restaurant owners, right? From the tax side, it could be, my boomer clients might get a different newsletter than my Gen X clients versus my Gen Z. Maybe I have a newsletter specific for freelancers, maybe people who are high net worth individuals, right? So I'm giving you a general idea, but what are some best practices? Obviously, in Counting Works, we have the ability now to tag audiences really with just keywords. So you can create very targeted messages on the fly, basically, and have AI write it. Based on using our CRM capabilities. But kind of what are the best practices? What do you say to clients when they're setting up their segmentation? And it's less work than you think if you're using a tool like ours. So kind of explain that.
It is less work than you think. And I was going to bring up the generational aspect of it. So I'm glad you brought that up. If you go back and listen to our generational podcast that we did kind of before we took our tax season break, you're going to hear a lot about segmentation. We went into it pretty deeply in several of those episodes. So that's a good place to go if you want more segmentation info. But basically, what you want to do is make sure that you're sending relevant articles that are really addressing pain points that each of these demographics have. You want to start a conversation. You want this to be something that they're going to contact you and be like, hey, I saw in the newsletter that for Gen X, for example, you can help me pay for my kids' college while also saving for the retirement of my dreams. How can you help me do that? So you want things that are going to really address the life issues or the business issues that people are going through right now if they fall into a certain demographic. You don't have to do this over the top. 5 articles, 6 articles, that's going to be enough. This isn't something where you need to be curating, 20 or 30 articles a month. And that's something that a lot of our clients kind of mistakenly think they need to do. It's kind of a quality over quantity idea. If you can curate a handful of really good articles that are going to spark those conversations, then you're doing something right.
Yeah, and quite honestly, with our categorization and the way our tools work, you could probably do this with automation as well. Just say, hey, these are all my 1040 clients. Here's my IRS tax problems. Here's my personal finance. So it makes it really easy. So the kind of takeaway here is specialists, they get more trust. They're going to demand higher fees. And quite honestly, I think they're going to attract better clients. So really important to look at segmentation, make it part of your, after tax season planning. How can I look at my current existing client base? If I have 350 clients, X our business, and then start, segmenting. It's worth the effort. It really is. So the fourth one we talked about a little bit already, how newsletters drive blog traffic. But I want to talk a little bit about this in a little more detail. And, what does it mean? What accountants don't understand, right? So when I email something, these signals mean what? And I think a couple of these are just not only relevancy, but let's talk about EAT a little bit here, and then active, right? So how active is your traffic? Does it drive actually more reviews? There's all these other signals that go to Google. And what I'm getting at is I'm kind of talking about people that DIY a website, they write 3 or 4 blog articles, and then they never do anything again. And what is that as a signal to Google versus what we're talking about is using newsletters to consistently drive targeted, relevant traffic to your website that is in your subject matter. You're not trying to game the system, how that really is rewarded by Google. And then basically all the algorithms, it's not just Google anymore, the search everywhere algorithms. Kind of explain that if you could.
Yes. So EAT is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And in my field, in SEO, this is king. This is something we think about all the time. It's something that's in the back of my mind whenever I'm talking to a client. So it's particularly important in the finance space or the medical space, anything that kind of falls in the your money, your life category, which tax and accounting squarely falls into that. So that means Google's going to put extra scrutiny on what you're posting. And that's not a bad thing, because if you're posting high authority content on a consistent basis, you have a really good chance to crack your niche and kind of become the thought leader or the expert within that area. So when we talk about, like Lee mentioned, someone who starts a blog, they're all excited, they post for 3 or 4 months very consistently, and then they fall off, your EAT score is going to plummet, because all of a sudden you're not showcasing that expertise anymore. You're not showing that you're a trustworthy website or a trustworthy source, because you're taking these huge breaks. People can't necessarily rely on you for the latest, most updated information, which is something that's very important when it comes to search rankings. So the more consistently you post, the more consistently you're driving traffic back to your blog, back to those articles that you're writing, the more it helps you in Google and in any search algorithm, like Lee mentioned, because you're not only building authority, but you're showing that you care about providing people with valuable and relevant information that's up to date. And things change fast in finance and taxes, and Google knows that. So if they see you not posting for months, it's not going to do anything to help you, because everything's already outdated, within 6 to 12 months very frequently. So it's just a way to kind of help yourself out.
There's a reason we train Max daily. It
Yes.
is all sorts of information. New pubs are released, new rulings. It's all being updated in real time, really. What we're talking about here is evergreen content that grows over time. So if you start ranking well, your traffic will build and build and build. And what's great about this is you're not spending thousands of dollars on paid ads, right? Paid ads can be very fleeting. You could turn them on and you could fail completely, lose all the dollars that you spent and not even know why. Organic, evergreen SEO tactics like the blog, like the newsletter, they build upon themselves. And then over time, you'll see some of your best performers are articles you may have written a year or two ago. So higher rankings means more eyeballs, more leads, which means more revenue. So positive ROI. I think it's great. So the fifth item I wrote here and the blog article that I want to cover is I called the newsletter a flywheel. So it's not a one-off. And I want to get into what a flywheel means to you and what we're talking about here. And, kind of think of it as a system, right? You think of it also as like you're getting all these common questions that if you proactively were sending information about this in your newsletter, you're not going to get these inbound calls over one-on-one, right? You're going to now at least address it. And maybe instead of a phone call to talk about something that you address in the newsletter, it's more of an action. I need a consultation, right? So kind of go through what the flywheel means and how this will generate so much time savings is kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to generate time savings. So, obviously, right now, maybe you're answering a lot of the same client questions over and over. You're having trouble standing out. You're hoping for referrals, but you're not getting any. Those are all major problems that a newsletter can help you solve. So, basically, in the blog, you talk about, Lee, how a strong newsletter is going to solve these issues and many more issues. A good newsletter is going to educate people. It's going to prepare them to take action. It's going to encourage them to spark those conversations, to get in touch with you, to really start building that relationship that can turn into a lifetime working relationship. It's also going to build demand for advisory services, which I think is a really important thing that we haven't touched on yet. As people become interested, we can go back to that Gen X example. If you're telling people, hey, I can help you achieve your dreams, they are going to want to work with you. If you're like, we can provide you with financial solutions that are going to allow you to do X, Y, and Z that you've always wanted to accomplish, that is opening the door to advisory services in a way that few other things are going to be able to. Thirdly, or I guess fourthly, it's going to nudge people to refer you. If they start trusting you, they might see an article in your newsletter that says something that they want to pass along. So they're going to be forwarding that newsletter. They're going to be referring you to people within their circle, people within their business network who might do similar things. And there you start building a niche. And there's this fantastic snowball effect from just sending a monthly newsletter that can help you grow. It can help you get paid higher fees. It can help you really start to kind of establish yourself as an expert in a particular field. So there's a lot you can do with a newsletter that maybe you're not even thinking of. And it's kind of an exciting thing because like here at Counting Works, we do a lot of this for you. We're building the newsletter so you don't have to even do a lot and you can reap all of the benefits.
Yeah, and I'll go into just the revenue and growth impact and just throw out some stats. Bain & Company and Forbes wrote about it. They referenced it as well. Firms that communicate regularly, example, monthly newsletters, retain up to 30% more clients year over year. That's okay. I'll listen to that. There was another article that talked about clients receiving educational content are 38% more likely to engage in additional services. So think about your upselling to advisory. 38% more likely. So you're seeding them, right? You're building trust to the newsletter. So then when you come in with your upsell offer with this new tax planning package, they're 38% more likely to engage and convert. I mean, that's a huge item, right? Referral generation. Texas Tech did a study on trust and referrals. They said that clients who receive regular updates are 2 times more likely to refer a professional they trust. I mean, if we haven't sold you yet, you should be sold now. And then lead nurturing, campaign manager, and HubSpot even backed this up as well. Email newsletters outperform social media in nurturing cold leads by 5 times, turning top of funnel awareness into book consultation. So just some stats and some studies, like the real life, not just the anecdotal stuff we're talking about. So I think that kind of wraps up the main thing. So the big breakthrough thing here at Counting Works Pro, we took a break, and during that break, we have finally started to test our automation custom content creation tools. So, what does that mean to you as a tax and accounting firm? So we have trained for the last year and a half now, Max, which is our AI tool, and it's built on OpenAI, ChatGPT. We have, I think, 5 models of ChatGPT. We have Gemini as also an underline. Any of the major, and we'll add more as we go. But basically, we find best-in-class models, and we add a learning knowledge base on top of it. And what we've done with Max then is create different AI agents that help tax and accounting firms do numerous things. One of the biggest things, a dream of mine in the entire time I've been running Counting Works, has been to deliver almost like an agency-like experience for our clients. We know people can't spend $20,000, $30,000. If you're doing the newsletters, for example, we write 15 to 20 newsletters per month for our clients. And at minimum, even if you try to outsource that from the proofwriting, the technical reviewers, the images, the copywriting, you're talking $30,000 minimum, probably $50,000 a year to do that. We have created a tool now that will allow our clients to take one of the options we have is to take the 15 to 20 articles that we do and completely personalize it, rewrite it, custom for you. So your newsletter now is a custom blog, a custom newsletter. And what we do is we add in your memories, your personalization. If you're going after different verticals, we will make this so well indexed for SEO, completely unique. This is going to be a game changer for our clients. It's kind of a new competitive advantage that, trust me, our competitors are nowhere near this. Being accurate with tax code is hard. Writing an article just from ChatGPT is not going to do the job, right? So we have figured out a way to take all of our expertise. We know what gets read. We know what creates action. We know what life events to write about. We know, the Trump tax law code changes that are going to push the buttons. And now we've created an engine that allows our firms to personalize this. So I think that's a big game changer. In addition to that, we have a couple other packages that are completely custom to you. If you are looking at a niche, so for example, the dental firms, as Rebekah had mentioned, we can now create, let's say, 2 to 4 articles a month just for that audience, custom to you, automated through AI, with all the SEO keywords, evergreen content automatically posted to your blog. So this is a lot of game changer stuff. If you are a current client of ours, this is releasing here in the next week. Give us another week we've been testing it now for a couple weeks, but give us a couple weeks to get all the kinks out. May 1 is our official. So everyone on this podcast listening is basically getting a teaser, a preview of what's coming. But we think this is game changing, and we're really excited about it, and hopefully you will be as well. There's a lot of things that are coming up as far as what CountingWorks is doing, and then what we're going to do in the growth-minded accountant. So, we look at ourselves as kind of that digital front office. We're here to help you as a tax accountant bridge the software you're working with, whether that's your tax prep software, your accounting software, financial management, whatever you're doing. We want to control and help you optimize all of the client-facing interactions. And what we're going to do with the growth-minded accountant is focus on making you the number one best first impression, stand out online, get the best clients, onboard clients quickly, intake clients quickly. And we're going to talk about topics that are utilizing technology, utilizing AI to do this. So we're completely focused to own this side of the business. We're not trying to get into tax research. We're not trying to do tax prep like some other AI tools are right now. But if you're interested in those, I want you to share with your other staff members, obviously links to our podcast, our YouTube channel as well. And we'll continue to hit up these topics as we go. So really excited. I know, unlike all the tax accountants, I took Lee Sr. out to dinner last night. He's, obviously been working on our forum, and it was crazy how many people were out at dinner last night. I was like, and then, seeing personalized license plates, we were actually following tax credit. And, as we were driving in, I'm like, wow, man, tax season must be over. All the accountants are out. So I know it's time to rest, kind of regroup, but we're here to help you guys this year. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of noise out there. So definitely, if you're interested in growing your side on the digital side, utilizing the best-in-class AI tools, we're going to be talking about them. We're going to give you best practices. So that's a long-winded way to say, listen to the podcast going forward. We've got a lot of great content. We've been really busy during tax season, and we're really pushing our product and our platform along. So I think I've covered everything we can on this subject. Rebekah, is there anything that I missed that you want to add as we close up here?
I think we're good. I think we hit everything.
All right. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll look forward to speaking with you guys next week. And we're going to start, again, creating a lot of incredible content as we move forward. So thanks again. Bye.